There we go. There we go. So I saw everybody doing brain buttons, and
Mhm.
have you all had water this morning?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's do our brain buttons. And just for a difference, we could try Patsy's favorite way today, Dr. Dennison's favorite way of making our heads do the movement while our eyes focus on a spot. It's great to mix these things up.
Mhm.
And then we'll just do some simple cross crawls.
Mhm.
I'm on a ball, so I'm a little unsteady. Okay, let's really take it down to putting a pause in. So cross, pause, cross, pause, breathing, cross, pause. So that idea of clear choices, allowing our body time to organize a specific intention. And then we'll do our hookups. And while you do hookups, I'm going to get a chair. So I thought we'll start actually on our chair,
Mhm.
doing some body mapping for our knees, and then we're going to get down on the floor. You are okay about that now, Ruth?
Yeah,
Great.
just take longer, that's all.
That's fine. So we're going to pick your side, and we're going to do one we've done before. We're going to do the tuberosity of the tibia and the second toe. So maybe give those two spots a rub, that little bump below your knee on your shin, and then your second toe. And I found once I established the new kind of motor pattern, it really helped with knee pain. Just remember that it takes 7 to 10 days to create a new motor pattern. So that means you really need to repeat the body mapping for that period of time every day. So we're just going to focus on those 2 points. And as always, you can ping pong, focus on one point, then go to the other point and back and forth. You can imagine a line between the two. The line can go, as a direct straight line, or it could go through your body. Or you could imagine the tuberosity is a little, like a little flashlight, a little beam of light that shines onto the second toe. So we're in our observer mode. We're not trying to do anything, but our observer mode, we might notice things happening in other parts of the body, which is great. And then we simply don't allow ourselves to get all caught up, and we go back to the body mapping. So our focused attention is giving the wisdom of our subconscious parts of our brain, of our nervous system, to make whatever adjustments will help us to function more efficiently, with more ease. And then let's go over to the other leg, the other side, and do the same thing. what is often interesting to me is that I often sense changes, uh, not necessarily on the same side as I'm doing the mapping. I notice that the other side of my body is responding. Sometimes even it seems more than the one that I think I'm working with. Take a moment to just notice generally now how you're sitting on the chair, how everything is arranged, and if it feels any different than when we started. And remember, I forgot to remind you that we want our feet to be not behind our knees. We want our heels to be under our knees. So we're going to now do that image of imagining our shin. If this was our shin and my hand is my foot, that it's going to fall forward. So the tuberosity is the thing that's going to move the greatest distance, but we're not talking about huge distance. And that is going to cause us to rotate right and left a little bit. So start with whichever side you want with the body mapping. And that side, imagine that that point is going to fall forward over your big toe, which is going to cause your center line to move in the opposite direction. And then the other tuberosity is going to fall forward in line with the second toe, which brings your body over in the opposite rotation. So just on your own time, allow that tuberosity to fall forward, do a little tracing, allow the other one to fall forward, doing a little tracing. So you are switching your focus from one to the other as you move. So I'm not going to cue it because I want you to go at your own speed. You may want to go slower so you can focus on the mapping, or maybe you can map as you go and you do the movement more fluidly. The choice is yours. So in this case, it's about initiation here, where you initiate the movement from. We could, of course, initiate it from our pelvis. Just let go of that idea and initiate from the shin. And that has the potential to open up some space in the knee joint. If eventually our body embodies this pattern, absorbs this pattern, integrates this pattern, with each step, we can be opening up some space in our knee joint and relieving the pain, if there is any. Okay, so let us go down to the floor into our constructive rest position. And as usual, you won't have to see me because I will cue everything. Uh, and when you get down to the floor, just do some observation. What is touching the floor? Where do you feel the most contact, the most surface? Where do you sense the weight of your body? Notice the back of your head, how much of your skull is touching the floor, your shoulder blades, your ribs. What is, I'm not saying all these things have to, I'm just cueing parts of the body that very likely have some contact and or pressure into the floor. Your pelvis and sacrum and your feet. Pick one side. We're going to use the same points. Just reconnect now the tibial tuberosity on one side to to the second toe. And then we're going to do this heel slide. So your heel is going to slide forward along the floor, away from your head. And you're going to body map now with your leg relatively straight. And then you're going to lift your tuberosity towards the ceiling and a little more towards the opposite wall, or in other words, in the direction of your foot. So it's not just straight up, but it's pretty much up. And you're going to keep lifting the tuberosity until your heel has to start sliding back to your hip. There it is. And map again. And then slide the heel. And as you slide the heel, the femur is going to descend toward the floor. Don't think of the tibia descending. Think of the femur, your thigh bone, in other words. And then reverse that and think of the tibia moving upwards. The femur stays heavy, and it's the tibia that's movement that's pulling it toward your chest. So do a few more heel slides. Body mapping either as you go or when you get to one, when you get the heel slide done, and then when you get the flexion done, as you wish, or fluidly. The movement happens and you keep focusing on that relationship between the tibial tuberosity and the second toe. The movement is initiated by the femur lowering toward the floor, and then the tuberosity raising toward the ceiling. So I didn't think about this because I've been doing these for so long, and we've done this before as well. But we could have just done it any old way to start with so that you could feel the difference. So if you want, you could do one or two without thinking of the tuberosity lifting, to just think maybe of the thigh pulling your leg up, and notice the difference between what it is when you initiate from the shin moving upwards versus when you move upwards from the thigh, which might, in me right now, because I have changed this movement pattern, when I think of my thigh coming up, I get tension in my hips. My muscles start to work and complain a little bit. Whereas when I lift from the tibial tuberosity, there's much less work from my thigh. So you can just play with that and notice the difference. And you may sense completely differently from what I just described. That's all valid. And then let's, when you're ready, change to the other side and repeat the same process. Maybe this time starting by just allowing your heel to slide and your leg to go down, and then you're just pulling your thigh up. And then try it, what happens when you initiate. Feeling the thigh drop to the floor as the heel slides out, and then feeling the tibial tuberosity lift. How long can it move upwards before you have to pull your heel, or before your heel comes back? How much, in other words, will your knee raise off the floor by lifting your tibial tuberosity before the heel has to shift, as opposed to pulling the heel back? So now we're going to move to two different points. I can't remember if we did this last week or not. We're going to find the kind of projections at the side of your pubic bone. So we're going to work, and of course I don't have my skeleton here, but if you were to feel along the top of your pubic bone, moving from the center outwards, you reach a part where the pubic bone kind of disappears into your flesh, as it were, or you're going to feel a lot of muscles. But just before that, on either side, in the inguinal crease, there's a part where the edge of the pubic bone kind of is still sticking out toward the fairly close to the skin on each side. And then if you lift one knee and feel the back of your knee, you'll see on either side there's two tendons. I'm trying to think, is that the right word for it? The tendons of the hamstrings. So there's one on the inside, or the medial side, and then there's one on the outside that on me is kind of bigger and thicker. So we're going to work with the one on the inside. So if as you kind of straighten your knee, you'll really feel that muscle, that tendon tensing from the pull, and where that attaches at the back of the knee. That's one point. And the other point is the side of the pubic bone on the same side as the knee. So we're going to ping pong between those 2 points, or draw a line between those 2 points. And if you feel little spots tensing and untensing and shifting, that's just fine. Just keep body mapping. I'm going to suggest that you move your heels on the ground a little bit further apart from each other than you probably have them. So your heels are a bit slightly wider than your hips. Amy always says like at the edge of a yoga mat. And you're going to, on whichever side you are, you're going to flex your foot a bit so you're balanced on your heel. And then you're going to allow the knee to move toward the side and then come back to center. In other words, the knee is going to drop sideways toward the floor a little bit and then come back to center. So you're not going to move so much that your pelvis rocks and the other side of your pelvis comes off the floor. You're going to keep your pelvis on the floor. So it's probably going to be, even for me who has a lot of turnout, it doesn't move that far. So let the knee fall out to the side. It's like doing a clamshell exercise, but on your back instead of on your stomach. And you're going to pause as you get out there and body map from the pubic, pubic tuberosity maybe, I'm not sure that's what it's called, to the back of the hamstring, and then back toward the center and body map again from one to the other, ping-ponging or drawing a line between the two, and then continue to move it outwards and draw the line and come back upright and draw the line. We're not trying to squeeze our knees together, we just move back upright. And the range of motion may change. Okay, and then you're going to put your foot back flat on the floor, and you can now bring your heels a little bit closer together if you like, because we're going to do the heel slide again. This time we're going to map the 2 points, the 2 new points, on the pubic bone and the tendons at the back of the knee. So you're going to allow your heel to slide outwards, and then when the leg is fairly straight, you're going to map from the pubic bone to the back of the knee. Then you're going to lift the tuberosity of the tibia up toward the ceiling until the heel starts to slide towards your bum. And you're going to body map those 2 points again. Maybe practice it a couple of times with a pause at each end of the movement to map. especially because I want you to make sure that you engage the lift of the tuberosity before you pull your before your heel comes back. And then, if that's fairly easy for you, you could do the movement more fluidly, continuously, and map as you move. Do a couple more, and then we'll switch to the other side. Maybe pause when you finish doing the first side and just notice if there's any difference in the way your pelvis is resting on the body. The pelvis is resting on the floor. Maybe one side feels different from the other side now. And then body map the other side, just static. Find those 2 points. You can find them with your fingers first. I like these two points because I find them easy to find on my body, and I can really feel them from the outside as well as and then it gives me a clear picture of what I'm mapping. And then when those 2 points are clearly established, we are going to take our heels out a little wider once again and lift our toes off the ground. And then we're going to commence allowing the knee to drop towards the outside and then come back up to the center. And when the knee goes to the outside, we'll pause and map those 2 points. And then the knee comes back up to the center. Pause and map those 2 points. I find this movement surprisingly challenging to do it really smoothly, but I don't worry about that. I just keep with the pause and mapping the points and continue the movement, pause and map the points. And when both the movement and the mapping is clear to me, then I move to do it more fluently, and I map as I go. If that just feels too much to think about at the same time, you can just keep doing the pause. And of course, with all of this, as always in my class, if it hurts, don't do it. Or don't take it to the point where it hurts. See what movement is possible without hurting, or straining, or tensing. Finish whatever you're with, and then put your heels back in line with your hips more. In other words, a little closer together. And then we'll start with the heel slide. And when the leg is straight, pause and body map. You can hang out there for a little bit. And then lift the tuberosity toward the ceiling until the heel starts to slide toward your bum. And then body map those 2 points again from the pubic bone to the medial hamstring. Again, the thigh moves toward the floor, the heel slides out, body map. Then lift the tibial tuberosity toward the ceiling. And allow the heel to slide and body map. And then continue at your own pace. And then roll over onto one side. Pause and take a breath. And come onto your hands and knees. Is that possible, Ruth?
Yeah.
Okay. So on your hands and knees, when you're there.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to do a side shift. So we're going to move our weight over more to our left and then over to the right. So our center line is all going to move in one piece. Center line being from our sternum to our pubic symphysis on the front of our body, but it also includes our tailbone. And we worked with this last week a bit. So once you've got this shift going, you could even think of like your nose all the way through your navel to your pubic symphysis and down to your tailbone. Now I'd like you to think of initiating the shift from the tip of the tailbone. Kind of like a dog wagging its tail, if you like. That's going to, very slowly, that's going to be the initiation of the movement. Rather than thinking of moving your chest over or even your pelvis as a whole, let the tailbone initiate the movement from one side to the other. And we could pause next time you go to the left and map your tailbone and the crease where your buttocks joins your legs at the top of the left side of your crease under your bum there. And then tailbone moves the center line over to the right and map the tip of the tailbone and the bum crease. And then go back to the other side and map. And then when that's clear, you can do it a little more fluidly. Sometimes we've moved from the pubic symphysis, sometimes we moved from the greater trochanter, moving over to the side. All that's valid. Our brain loves variety, so initiating from different parts of our center line or different parts of our body, any part of our body, gives it that, can't think of the word, gives it that variety, that newness that is intriguing to our subconscious mind. Gives it something to play with. And then imagine your tailbone reaching back to the wall in back of you and then come back up with your weight on your hand. So you're pulling yourself, your tail is reaching back, which will cause your knees to bend more. Now don't do this if it hurts. Try to create space, this time by reaching back with the tailbone, allowing the tibia to remain on the floor, and then the tailbone is creating some space to reach back with that tailbone to open up some space in the knees, rather than thinking of, folding the knees, the thighs against the calves. Think of the tailbone reaching back to create some space and then coming up each time. So we're doing a little pulse backwards. And then I think I'll let you decide how you want to get up. I'm going to put my weight on one foot, transfer the weight onto that foot, and then bring the other foot underneath, transfer my weight between the two, and then slowly roll up to standing. Yeah, that was a long session, I know, but those are things that you can do on your own.
That's really good. Yeah.
So let's just start. We're just going to do two things, standing, simple noticing. So that same movement of the center line shifting over, thinking of it happening from the tailbone. Tailbone goes over the heel on one foot, and then tailbone goes over the heel on the other foot. Or you could do the mapping from the tailbone to the butt crease on one side and then to the other side. And we can place one foot forward, and now we can move back and sideways onto one foot, and then a little bit more transferring the weight to the other foot, as if we were going to take a step forward and then backwards. And just notice how the tailbone can initiate that movement. Of course, there's lots of other stuff that's going on in our body, but just think of that tailbone tracking forward to come over the front heel and then tracking backward diagonally over the other heel. And then with the other foot forward, the same thing. And then just take a little walk, maybe slowly, so you really notice that same pattern happening as you walk. Breathing and blinking. And think of it noticing more than trying. It's not about trying hard to do it. It's just noticing how the tailbone is moving as you walk. Do your feet meet the floor differently now? And then once more, as you walk, and maybe walking a little more fluidly, see if you can sense that tibial tuberosity moving forward with each step. We're now vertical instead of lying flat, so it's a different direction. So that tibial tuberosity is moving forward, not up towards the ceiling, forward and towards the floor more as you step. And maybe you notice if you feel perhaps a difference of the pressure in the knee as you walk, focusing on the tibial tuberosity. Just notice if your feet feel any differently. And then we're going to do a movement phrase. I think because we've just got about 10 minutes left, I won't try to do both Qigong and the movement phrase. So, and also I have the music for the movement phrase with me, and the other music I discovered is only on my big computer. So, we've done variations of this before. We're going to reach over to the side, and our fingertips take a great big circle, our body following us around. We bend, our tibial tuberosities fall forward as we come down, and we're going to pivot and stretch out along the floor to the side. Then we're going to turn our body like we do when we do the calf pump, and both of our hands are going to scoop the snow and throw it away. Then we're going to do a lazy 8 circle to one side. This is part of our Qigong. Lazy 8 to the other side, and we're going to move on, stepping over to the side, twisting up to look at the moon, and twisting up to look at the moon on the other side. Okay, let's do that much once more. You pretty well know this part of it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, slide up 5, reach 6, turn 1, scoop, and throw the snow away, reach lazy 8, and reach up to one side and up to the other side. Okay, here we are. And we're going to do a slow cross crawl, elbow to knee, if you can, if you like. You could just do your hand. And then the knee and the hand open out away from each other. So you create a curve on the front of the body, reaching around like your hand is reaching back to the toes of the other foot. And then we're going to come up to center, reach out and open. Sway. This is right straight from Qigong. Sway. And I'm going to have to sense the music now. So, okay, so we're going to do 2 sways, and then it's fall, so we're going to do our movement for worth. So there we are over the side, and our hips are going to come forward to one side. Our arms go behind our back, forward to the other side. We're doing a lazy 8 with our hips. And then we're going to open our hands around, and we're going to do letting go. And come up. Okay, let's do that much again from the beginning. Let's do it with the music because otherwise I'll screw up the timing. Because I've changed this a bit. Okay. Here we go.
Can't hear anything. Have you shared it?
I have it all shared. Something went wrong though, because I don't hear anything either.
Oh, okay.
I had it all set up. It was working, Peggy.
It is. Okay, got it.
Yeah, okay. That's just the wrong piece. I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't see that. Okay, so it'll start in 5 seconds.
Yeah, sure.
And we start to the second side. Okay. There's one little thing that I want to point out for the transition into the second side. So we've just released everything, just letting go completely and come up. Now to start on this side, we're going to shift our hips. So we're going to start again with the tailbone moving over the hips. Sorry.
No,
No.
no.
Have a drink of water.
Then you can move the foot in. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay. So there's a little subtle thing here that I had worked out that I couldn't figure out. So the hips are going to shift this way to the side, and then this whole body is moving to that side as the hand goes around. So we really create a stretch in this side of the body. What I'm trying to avoid is us just going plump and collapsing on this side. So that's why I wanted the shift coming from the tailbone, and then it goes up the side of the body to bring us around here, and it curves and stretches out. Okay?
So bring that foot in.
Just a little bit. So we'll start doing it on this side this time, and then when we go to the other side, it'll be the opposite. Okay. I've got the right piece now. Here we go.
Lovely.
There we have it. My little kind of ode to fall. Okay. We talked last time that we're into fall officially, which is the metal element. Um, and in Brain Gym, we talk about what we value, which is the breathing eights that we do through the hips, and letting go, which is the final movement we did. The trees let go of their leaves. The leaves let go of the trees. They do. They let go of the trees and they sail off into the wind. So,
Terrific. Enjoy your time in Quebec. I
thank
must
you.
be on my way.
Okay. Have a good
Nice to
week.
see you. Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Indeed.
I can't hear you, Audrey. You're on mute.
I was just going to ask if I could get Patsy's attention before she goes,
Oh,
but she may
sorry.
be gone. That's okay.
Okay.
I'll send
Yeah.
her a text.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care and have a
Great.
good week.
Yeah, have a good time in Quebec. See
Thank
you
you.
next week. All righty. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.